We'll be back from the break. During the celebrations of the Tarehe Sita in Bali on the 6th of February, the president declared that the Boda Bodas will be free to move starting with the 7th of February. And they would be free to move even in the night, or he lifted the lockdown of the Boda Bodas. They were the only remaining part of the sector to be fully reopened, and a number of initiatives have been pushed by the Kampala City Traders Association plus the Boda Boda leaders in the country to clearly see that the government looks into this matter. And on the matters regarding the reopening of the Boda Bodas, these discussions, I'm joined by Abel Mwesije, the CEO Kasita Uganda. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Let's kickstart off from the press conference that was slated for today by Kasita. What was it going to address, and what was it all about mainly?
Thank you so much. To begin with, my name is Abel Mwesije, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer, Kasita Uganda. Glad to be here this morning with a lot of joy. We had planned for a press conference today at 10 a.m. and it was basically on the of the Boda Boda industry, which has a lot of impact on our businesses and our livelihoods as well. So we had wanted to issue an ultimatum to have the curfew lifted for the Boda Boda industry. And of course, mobilization had already started. So it's over yesterday during the Tarehe Sita celebrations when the president had our request, and then he lifted it high. And as a result, I mean, when you answered, then there's no reason for pushing one. Otherwise, you would be having any other intention apart from that. Yes. So that's the reason why we cancelled today's press conference, because it was basically on the Boda Boda industry.
Okay. Yeah. So should we say the discussions, besides that, should we say the president had an idea that maybe you were setting up a press conference?
I may not preempt what the president thought, but what I know is that he's always informed, and as Kasita, we are great stakeholders in the economy, and so whatever we plan, whatever we advise, but he also comes to know. Okay. It might be a coincidence that he opened at a time when we were organizing for an ultimatum, but it could also be possible that he was informed of our action. Because at the end of the day, you remember like 3 weeks ago, we had a press conference over the same. We teamed up with the e-commerce association and the prayers. We had our petitions sent to him. So all those might have formed part of him making the decision, because we brought out the justification why the industry should actually be lifted. And we are glad that today our businesses are going to be now normal, because we've been limping. Yes, we've been extending Transnight, but at the end of the day, when it comes to delivery, product delivery, service delivery, because of the absence of that industry, we haven't been smoothly transacting.
Okay.
Yeah.
The delay has actually been of, I would say, there's actually been a huge delay for the borders to be reopened. Sure. But now they are back and running in the economy. So when you look at that situation, before we even go into the question that I have regarding this, I'd want to know what was Kasita trying to address mainly with the Boda Bodas? What are those key factors that, as Kasita looked at and said, we need these Boda Bodas to get back into the nightlife economy?
In the first case, I would want us to first appreciate that we have the numbers and we have facts. The Boda Boda industry, these are Kasita members. To begin with, we looked at the livelihoods that are surviving because of this industry. We looked at around 3 million riders. These are direct riders. Now, each rider has an average of 5 dependents. He has a wife, he has maybe 2 children, he has a mother, he has a father. On average, those are 5, okay? Now, if you get the 5, it means we are getting into 15 million beneficiaries of the industry. That's one. Two, we looked at the business channels that we employ. They do contribute like 70% of what we do in the business sector. I mean, right now, when you look at Boda Bodas, someone would simply look at passenger rides. But if you walk downtown, you walk to these other centers, every other individual who is in business has actually purchased a motorbike to enable delivery of these products, to enable easy movements at the end of the day. So those are some of the points. Besides COVID, yes, COVID is there, but these are individuals that can ably manage the situation just like any other sector. So when we looked at the loss that we are incurring, the inconvenience, and when you have a channel, when you have a system, a blockage of one sector means a blockage of the entire sector.
True.
So we are factual. We are not political. We are not against any other decision. But we are looking at business in totality.
Let's talk about the plans by Kampala City Council Authority to eliminate Boda Bodas in town. How best can this be done, or is it a wrong move?
I will not say it's a long move. We as Kasita Uganda, we are always here to advise on the best way to do business. When you look at the motive, if the motive will be forward, not diverted, then they aim at improving business in the city. In the first case, the motive is not to eliminate Boda Bodas. The motive is to regulate. Because the Boda Boda industry is one of the sectors that has been known for having unregulated activities. And so other concerns of security of this, because of that unregulated way of doing business, usually come in. But if they come in and they are like, okay, you must put on uniform in order to be identified. Of course, it's our advantage. Why would I give you my luggage, my product to deliver when I cannot be able to trace you? Someone tells you must have a Boda Boda stage. So it means, even if you have the cargo that you have delivered, if it's not delivered, I know where to find you. So they are facilitating business. Because at the end of the day, we must appreciate that we cannot be in the city without that flexibility way of doing business. We need that transportation. But regulation is okay. So for us as Kasita, if we can have it regulated, if we can have it, we have those gazetted stages respected, we have these riders respected, then our business is also work. And also, as I told you, not every motorbike that is in the city is carrying passengers. No, we have our own bikes that we are using for deliveries, that we are using for ABC and D. So if they can be granted and identified, then the better. So for us, we are here to see that business works in a more sensible manner.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we have the Boda Bodas open. Information was received with exciting. It was actually welcomed with a lot of excitement from all the Boda Bodas. But what do they need to do to clearly utilize this time? Because, like we say, they are breadwinners. Most of them have been they play a pivotal role, also during the night time, whereby vehicles like taxis, the passenger service vans cannot reach. These Boda Bodas will reach late in the night. So, what should be done? Because we talk about regulation. I think their regulation also should start at a time like this.
Very true. In the first case, this is when everyone is appreciating that now the entire economy is open after the lifting of the curfew of Boda Bodas.
Yes.
For us, we do believe in business that self-discipline is always a key to everything. Now, government has lifted the curfew, but they are on the watch. How these people are going to discipline themselves, how they are going to behave, how they are going to tame themselves, how they are going to operate in their areas of jurisdiction. So the first thing to do before regulation, you see, regulation doesn't mean anything if you yourself you're not tamed.
Okay.
Now, out of that very big excitement, not only for Boda Bodas but even us beneficiaries and users, we just have to ensure that we are disciplined, because we have to fight the vice that the president mentioned, that look, for security, we are going to work on it in its own way. Now, we are going to be security conscious. Now, if we do our business in the proper way, we tame ourselves, even at night, we should be conscious, okay? Because there are times when we've carried people that we are either not aware of. There are times when we have tolerated evildoers, even when we are in the know. You understand? So we are now ambassadors of our own industry. Because we know anytime they're going to say, you know what, because of security reasons, we are again doing this and this. And if you're moving and you suspect someone, even within your industry, to be doing something contrary, then report, then discipline, then do this and this. If regulations have come, then abide. If you're in the city and you don't have a stage, then why would you come in the city? If you're in the city and you can't put on your helmet, you can't be identified, you don't have a reflector, you can't do it, then those are the problems.
Okay.
So we are very vigilant, and we are glad that it is now us that have been pushing for the lifting of the curfew. Meaning we are very ready to comply, to abide by those regulations. Yes.
On the 31st of December 2021, amongst the key issues that President Museveni did note during his State of the Nation address, he did say why the Boda Bodas would not be reopened on the 24th when the entire sector is reopened was because of security issues. But he later on said that they will be looking into the matter with the task force to clearly see the possible ways of reopening of the Boda Boda. Just a few weeks to that, the Boda Bodas are back. But the issue regarding security remains a very pivotal one. And with that, among some of the cases that have been reported during the few days, because these Boda Bodas have been defiant, nevertheless, when the president said they're not supposed to operate past curfew time. But most of those that have been defiant late in the night is that they have actually, this time around, it's not the Boda Bodas engaging in the robbery or anything. It is actually them that are losing property.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So how can that be prevented in a time when now they're back, and we all know now even the thieves are going to be given free time to move late in the night? How can these Boda Bodas survive such situations? Because even during the pre-pandemic times, we had cases of Boda Bodas losing their Boda Bodas, or most of them actually dying when they're taking these passengers.
Thank you so much. Now, as you've rightly mentioned, we must appreciate that when it comes to security, we are the first culprits. We are the first targets. Because at the end of the day, I mean, our members have lost lives. We have lost property. We have lost our bikes and everything. And if you can even get the sentiments from our riders or Boda owners, some of them are still curious of the transnight operations. They are still monitoring. Now, why would I ride my bike at 3 a.m.? Do I know whom I'm taking? Where am I actually going? This and that. That's one. Two, as the Boda industry, they are so much organized to the extent that they have committees on various stages. They have reporting and communication systems. Okay, so they are very vigilant. Now, when it comes to security, if I think of my passenger, I first think about myself. Because most cases, actually, we've carried the passengers who end up finishing their lives. Okay? So that's why we are mentioning that in the first case, there are spots we have identified where we say, no, these are black spots, therefore we don't need to operate from here and here. If we realize or we suspect anyone in our industry to be doing something that is divergent from our objectives, we report. Then we as the Casita, the e-commerce or the e-trade association members, and we are now ensuring massive sensitization. You see, we can't take it for granted that everyone knows what to do. Okay?
True.
So we are enforcing massive sensitization, we're enforcing massive trainings, you know, which should be continuous. But at the end of the day, for us as the business community, we guarantee the nation, we guarantee the public, and we guarantee His Excellency that we will not stand him down this time around. We are now keepers of ourselves. We are going to keep a watch. We've lost a lot. The 2 years, and you're the breadwinner, you're not earning anything, you have obligations. We've learned. There are lessons that we are going to implement.
Let's also talk about the charges
Yeah.
of these border riders. One of the reasons as to why they've been charging highly in some areas is because they would say, "Fetucha curfew." So at 7, we're supposed to be home.
Oh, yeah.
Then there are those that have been able to use these Boda Bodas late in the night. And a place where you would go for 5,000 before, someone is going to charge you around 15,000, and reasons are understandable because the police can actually easily arrest them. Now, let's talk about the charges. In a time whereby some of them have also been complaining, the fuel prices, all this and that. Now they are fully reopened. Do we expect a change, a slight decrease or a sharp decrease in these charges by these Boda men?
In fact, it's not experiencing a slight or heavy decrease or what. You know, you need to appreciate that where there is law, then sin is bound to be there.
Okay.
Okay? Now, why have I mentioned that statement? Because these people have been operating illegally.
During these 2 years.
During the other restricted periods. That's why, whether the charges or the way they behave, they've all been, you know, ambiguous. And so they are trying to make a kill because he knows if he's caught this. And right now, it is legal. So the market forces are going to determine if, I mean, because he's also going to consume the same fuel, 5,000 per liter. Okay? So if he's to increase a journey that he has been charging 1,000, he might maybe charge 1,200 or 500. That is normal because it is. And at the same time, why you've also been paying that heavy fee is because you've also been aware of the environment. So I want to mention to you that both the rider and me, the passenger, we are all safe because at the end of the day, he's not going to force me because I know the prevailing environment. But also, just as we mentioned it, he knows he's doing something that is risky. That's why he's hiking the charge. But right now, he's okay too. So customer care is going to be a priority. But the other times, security was a priority, risking was a priority. So right now, everything is going to be normal. When you have options, it is very hard to determine your own fate. No, it's very hard.
And then on the other issue that we're also going to talk about is we're trying to sum up this discussion is Boda Bodas are risk takers.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to use this particular word. They are risk takers. During traffic jam, you would see a Boda Boda trying as much as they can to pass via a lane in which you, who is actually, if I told you are a driver and you're in control of a car, you only feel pity for this Boda man according to where he's passing. So among the key regulations, when you look at that, have you also talked about that idea of how they handle themselves while taking these people on more so during traffic jam? They tend to pass anywhere, even when it is very risky. And also when you look at that, speaking still with the regulation, how many people are they supposed to carry? Because there are times when you look at a Boda person overloading over 4 people at the back of him, and you wonder how is he going to take them where they're going?
Okay. Thank you so much. To begin with, I mentioned of the trainings, I mentioned of the sensitization activities, but we don't need to generalize some of these concerns.
Okay.
We need to appreciate that there are those who are trained who actually know what it means. Because I personally have been on some of these traffic lights, and I mean, you stand waiting for the green light, and there's a Boda man who is also patiently waiting for the green light to actually allow him go. So now this comes back to personal character. It's not that they don't know what to do. At the end of the day, just the way we other drivers do. I mean, there are some of us who have made mistakes, not because they are Boda riders. But at the end of the day, these are some of the things that we want to now emphasize on. Sorry to mention this, but if you look at the brand like Safe Boda, these people, they are very organized. I'm just using that as an example because of the continuous sensitization, continuous trainings that they usually have. It is very rare to find someone branded. He's branded with the Safe Boda helmet, Safe Boda reflector, and then he's just violating rules. Why? Because he knows once he's identified, his certificate is either revoked, his motorbike is either confiscated, because he is tarnishing the brand. Okay? Now, that's the same thing why we are appreciating like the KCCA arrangements. When someone knows I can be identified, I can be spotted, then his character improves. So at the end of the day, it's what we're emphasizing on. If I see any of our fellows, misusing the rights that we have, before the entire industry is affected in general, we must work on them.
Okay. And
those are commitments from us as business community, as riders, as e-trade. Why I'm using e-trade members, because they all subscribe to Kasita Uganda.
Okay.
They are my members. Yes. So that one we guarantee. On the number of people to take, it still goes back to the regulations. We all know, and Boda carries, there are two people. It's the rider and the passenger. That's why I'll get back to you that for these trained ones, he will never, even if you give him how much money, he will never take two because he knows what to do. So we want to do that in a universal way so that the entire industry is now clean. And when the commitment comes from us as the first beneficiaries, then it is a walkover.
And lastly, was it the right time for the Boda Bodas to be reopened? I love asking questions about the right time. So was it the right time, or it was actually delayed?
It was delayed.
Okay.
Nevertheless, better late than never. Things where you have no control, some level of patience is required, some level of understanding is required. But and that's why at the end of the day, right now, we are not complaining of the late reopening, but we are appreciative. Yeah? But it has really been delayed. It would have begun last month on the 24th when everyone was actually allowed to work. If you can imagine, the first case, it was not about security, it was COVID.
True.
Yeah? And the president actually rectified that no, he thought it was about COVID, but now it has done to be security. If you can take note, most Boda riders, they have all been vaccinated. Fully vaccinated. Why? Because, they are the same with the other general population. So that's why we feel the Boda industry would have been, opened like long time ago. Nevertheless, we want to thank the president for considering us and our beneficiaries, our businesses to operate. As right now, we still feel, for us in business, we are always positive. We have positive minds that we can still catch up and make it.
All right. Yes. And Mr. Abe Mwesigye, the CEO Kasita Uganda, many thanks for joining us on the show today. And among the discussions that we are clearly looking at was the fact that the Boda industry is fully reopened. So late in the night, you will still access a Boda as late as possible. If at all, they will be still on the streets. This time around, it is legal for them. I don't know Ugandans love operating under illegal means. A friend of mine told me that back in the time, when they were still drinking in the bars, it was better that way than drinking when you're legal, because the other time it was good when you're doing it in wrong. So I don't know how best the Boda Bodas will receive this news, but I think they are very excited. For that, Smart Means Business does take a break. Rita Cabanyoro continues with more of the business reports.